I'm Alex, and this is Woke Fallout, the podcast where nothing's too sacred to question and nobody's too big to call out. I dig into the past, drag the present into the light, and drop the kind of takes that get people talking. Welcome to the Fallout. In this episode, we're gonna have a look at some of Sweden's most ridiculous laws, both past and present, such as why you are allowed to sell sex, but you can't wash your car in your driveway. Why is there a law that you can't just own one guinea pig? We'll get through some of these in this episode, and a lot more, and some commentary obviously. We're going to start off with some laws that are still active to this day, except this first one. Between 1956 and 2023, you actually needed a dance permit at clubs and bars. You couldn't just go out dancing. However, after the law was removed, you still needed to report to the police free public events such as, dances. And now to another law, actually quite a new one. So, from, I think it was the beginning of July 2025, it's actually illegal to insult or verbally abuse officials. That is someone public employees such as, social workers, police, government officials, healthcare professionals and teachers. Now, I don't know. Why do we have such a subjective law in the first place? It's beyond me. If there are to be subjective laws, why just have them limited to public employees? Why should people be able to be insulted? This next one is actually not a law per se, it's more like local regulation. So from the 90s, you aren't actually allowed to wash your car outside your house because it could pollute lakes and water courses. So I guess there's a reason for it, but still. Now, this next law is really odd, at least I think so. So, we have like a guinea pig law, right? And so, it's illegal to own just one. You need to have at least 2 guinea pigs, because apparently, guinea pigs are social animals and require companionship for like mental and physical well-being. Sure, I guess I could agree. But I mean, there's plenty of animals other than guinea pigs that actually are, social animals. So, this is really odd. I mean, if there should be a law, why not have it a law for all social animals? And beside that, let's say you have like 2 guinea pigs, right? And one dies of old age or, something happens. Do we have some kind of grace period that allows you to get a new one in a specific amount of time? And if you fail to do so, what's the penalty? Still with me? Good. This next law, or actually it's not a law per se, but here in Sweden, the state has alcohol monopolies. So the only places allowed to sell alcohol is the Systembolaget, as we call it, basically a store run by the government. Other than that, bars and pubs can, apply for a license that allows them to sell alcohol. And here's the weird thing, actually. When you turn 18, you can visit clubs and buy alcohol, but you can't buy alcohol from Systembolaget before you're 20 years of age, which I think is really odd. An even more funny thing is, by the age of 15, you can actually be prosecuted and convicted for crimes committed, so you're actually being treated as an adult. But hey, you can't drink. You're only 15, right? Okay, let's shake things up. Time to talk about cars. So here in Sweden, we actually have laws that tells us when we need to use winter tires and when to use summer tires. So from the beginning of December to the end of March, you need winter tires. And from 16th of April to the end of September, it's forbidden to have winter tires, so you need to actually have summer tires on. But there's a twist. So, even though we have laws when you need to use winter or summer tires, it's actually the condition of the roads that matter. So, if there's snow or, it's slippery, you need to have winter tires. So, even if it's between 1st December and the last of March, and you should be using winter tires. Although, if there's no winter condition, you can't use it, and you can be fined. So, my question is, why even have dates? Let's just make it depend upon the road condition. Now, for a completely different flavor of chaos. Let's talk drugs. Sweden has had a zero-tolerance drugs policy since 1988. In 1988, Sweden criminalized the use of drugs. Even traces in your blood or urine is a criminal offense. I myself is a firm believer that I should get to decide what I do with my body. No law or person should tell me what I can and cannot do with my body. I'm a grown-ass man. I work. I pay my taxes. In 2023, the Swedish government actually pushed for stricter penalties, not leniency, for drug offenses. I mean, come on. Isn't there other important things that can be done, like chasing murderers, rapists, and thieves. But oh no, the drugs you put in your body are way more important to pursue. But wait, there's more. Even more funny is, your employer is actually allowed to drug test you at their mercy. No reason required. Usual drug test involves either urine or saliva, so, it doesn't really matter if you're sober at work, since urine and saliva actually will show you what you have done in the past, not the present. So, I actually think if employers are supposed to be allowed to drug test you, it should be blood. Because that is actually relevant. You shouldn't be showing up at work, high on coke or something, right? The thing is, sure, when I'm at work, the employer should care what I do and don't do. But when they aren't paying me, they should have nothing to say at all. And on that note, let's talk about something else. Public salary transparency. Here in Sweden from 1766 up until now, you can actually look up anyone's taxable income. Here in Sweden, that is not so odd. But if you're coming from the States, I presume you might find this really odd. I myself, personally, don't think nobody should know what I make. Don't you think? Now, this next law, I kind of agree with. In 2019, we actually had a ban on face coverings in school. I do think it should be a school policy, not a law though, because, I don't know, I find it odd. However, I think it's a good thing anyway, because people shouldn't be covering their faces when they're at school. And Swedes don't usually do, but I guess it's because of the immigration it's been a problem. Speaking of that, it's time to change gears. It's time to look at weird laws that died. Laws that has been active but aren't anymore. So, in 1766 until 1771, there was a masquerade ban. Dressing up was illegal. Imagine having something like Comic-Con back in those days and get thrown in prison for it. I guess we got some coffee drinkers among us, right? Who doesn't like a cup of coffee in the morning? However, in 1756 to 1823, King Gustav III actually had a coffee ban. King Gustav actually made it illegal to consume coffee. Consuming coffee resulted in a fine. Imagine waking up, going to the kitchen, and not have a cup of morning coffee. That would not be a good start of a morning, right? Alright, let's flip the script a little bit. Do we have any Christians among us here? Because between 1726 and 1858, it was illegal to hold prayer meetings outside the state church. I'm honestly not sure why it was, but I guess they wanted control, right? It's all about control. Let's keep talking about church and the holy stuff. I'm not sure from what year, but up until 1809, there was mandatory church attendance. So skipping Sunday service was a crime. I mean, I'm not Christian, but I do believe if I were a Christian, I would probably go to church every Sunday. But making it illegal to skip? Kinda odd. Now, this next one is also kinda holy, I suppose in a way, and one that I personally do not agree with. Up until 1970, you actually shouldn't be mocking God because we had blasphemy laws. No free speech in those days, I presume. Let's fast forward to 1956. In 1956, a TV license fee was required for every household that owns a TV. So, each household with a TV had to pay around $251 per year. Back in 2019, the TV license fee was removed. It was added onto the tax instead. So every person has to pay the tax, no matter if they have a TV or not. Now, I do think it's a bit odd, owning a TV requiring a TV license fee or a tax, because Sweden did not invent the TV. Why the F should they be able to charge for it? And on that note, let's talk about something else. State pharmacy monopoly. Between 1970 and 2009, only state stores could sell medicines such as aspirin. Now we're not talking hard drugs such as Oxy. So honestly, I see no reason why that law ever existed, to be honest. Anyway, let's talk about school. Up until 1958, teachers could actually smack the kids when they weren't behaving. And I don't condone violence. However, these days, teachers can't even touch their arms. It's really odd. I mean, if a student misbehaves, they can't do nothing basically. What they usually do is, threaten to call their parents, but that's it. Now, this next one may be a bit sensitive, so close your eyes and hold your ears, because this is gonna get nasty. No, just kidding. Let's talk about the prohibition of homosexual acts. Between 1864 and 1944, it was actually criminal for same-gender sex, and it stayed that way until 1944 when it was decriminalized. Now, my philosophy, a straight male, not Christian, but I still do believe that it is a sin to have same-gender sex. I mean, come on. God, or whoever made us, made man and woman, kind of like the battery. The battery has a positive and negative terminal. You take one of each and they'll attract. Take two of the same and they'll repel. I mean, you get the point. Alright, time for me to drop some wisdom. Having looked at these laws, both past and present, I kind of get the picture that Sweden tries to make all the decisions for us people. Why shouldn't people be able to decide what to do with their body? Drugs, alcohol, tobacco. I mean, you're allowed to drink gasoline, but damn if you smoke some weed. On to prison it is. So, next time you sip your Starbucks, dance in your living room, or wash your car at home, remember Sweden. It could be worse. Have you got a weird law in your country? Let me know in the comments. I'm all ears. This was Woke Fallout, the place where comfort zones is shatter. I'm Alex, signing off. Stay bold, stay loud, and don't stop questioning.